decided to start on another little project. A few years ago I bought myself a Raspberry Pi, mainly because it was cheap and cheerful. I liked the idea of it and I was going to do weird and wonderful things with it. As with most of these things, never really got round to that. So what I mainly used it for was media streaming. I put a bit of software on that allowed me to stream from my server direct to my TV. Over the last few years I've bought smart TV and the Xbox does streaming, my Mac does streaming, so the Raspberry Pi has just been left in a drawer. And my little brother the other day gave me a bit of a challenge of turning his Raspberry Pi into a retro gaming machine. I'm not sure if you understand or know what a Raspberry Pi is, but a Raspberry Pi is basically a little box. Well, it's not actually the box, it's the circuit board that goes in there. So all of this kind of comes apart, and all you buy is like a circuit board with some connectors. It's got micro USB, HDMI, headphones, microphone port, 4 USBs and an Ethernet. This is one of the older ones that doesn't have Wi-Fi, so you plug a Wi-Fi dongle in and a mouse and a keyboard, and effectively you can run a bit of software called Raspbian, and that's basically like a Windows or Mac kind of software. I never run that on this. All it was for is just for a media center, just to get stream stuff from my server to my TV so I can watch films. You can also do some other stuff with it, which I've never used it for, but like I say, my little brother decided to issue me a challenge and turn it into a retro gaming machine. Every one of the company now is doing one of those micro retro machines, like the NES and SNES. I'm pretty sure they're bringing out a PlayStation 1, and there's talk about a Commodore 64 one. These are more than powerful to run those kind of games. So I did a bit of scouting around on the internet, and I found the following. So the software I found is a bit of software called RetroPie. What this video is going to be is how to install it on the Raspberry Pi. I'm not sure I think this is a Raspberry Pi 3. I'm not sure 100% of the model, but you can get RetroPie for pretty much every version. So ideally, hopefully it's a matter of creating an image on the micro SD card, slotting it in, setting it up, putting a couple of ROMs on there, which are the games, and then seeing how we go. Obviously I don't want to control this by keyboard or mouse, because that's not what it's about. I can do emulators and ROMs on my Mac. What I want is, what I have got, excuse the mess, SNES controller. It's USB, so it should plug straight into the Pi. I think you can get 2 of these for £6 on eBay, which is brilliant. They actually feel, the buttons are a little bit squarer than a SNES, but they feel alright. It's not bending, it feels responsive, the buttons got a nice push to them. So I'm hoping this, along with the software and a couple of ROMs, should get me some SNES games, NES games, Mega Drive, maybe even some PlayStation 1 games, but I'm not sure yet. I've only got a limited card in that. I think it's only a 4 gig card, because that's all I ever needed it for. I think I've got other cards here if I need to put some more on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to start now. Going to go through a bit of a walkthrough of how I do it, and hopefully by the end of the video we're playing some NES games. Okay, right, so first thing we've got to do is copy the image of the RetroPie software onto our SD card. It's very simple. To be honest, I only know how to do it on a Mac. I'm pretty sure there's software that does it on Windows. You just have to have a look into it. Okay, right, so the first thing we do is open up a piece of software called Etcher. I'll put a link to the name of it underneath this description. Okay, right, so we open up Etcher. Right, there we go. So first of all, we've got to select our image, which is on our desktop, which is the RetroPie software. Open. We need to select the drive, which is going to be our disk 2. So it's the SD reader, which is the one on the side of the thing. That's our USB hard drive, and that's our, don't know what that one is. Okay, so we click that, and then we click flash. Okay. Password. Okay, so as you can see there, it's starting at the moment. So it's 4%, 5%, still 5%, still 5%, 6%. It's got an ETA of 8 minutes. It's not the quickest thing in the world because the SD card slots on these Macs aren't very fast, and the SD cards, because it's a cheap and cheerful one anyway, it's never going to be lightning fast. So what we're going to do is now we're just going to cut to when it's done. Okay, so once it does its copy, it then does a validation. It takes about 2 minutes, as you can see. It's not too bad. Right, so in theory now, we have our SD card with our RetroPie software installed. So we plug that into the bottom of the Pi. You have to be careful when you're plugging into the bottom of the Pi, because sometimes you miss the slot and the SD card goes in between the circuit board and the plastic tray, and then you've got to take it apart to get it out. Okay, so that's that bit done. So what we're going to do is now, because these Pis are really easy to set up, I'm just going to nick the HDMI cable from my second monitor from my Mac, plug it into here, use a USB power from my phone charger that's just plugged in here to control it, to power it, and I'm going to plug the controller in to control it. Let's see, here we go. Okay, right, so first things first, plug a controller in. And so we don't need any Wi-Fi or anything on this at the moment. It's just purely just to get it up and running. So we nick that from that. It's a bit of a hash job really, because, actually no, first of all, I'm going to nick the HDMI from this. Ignore the mess on my desk. I'm very limited for space and... Okay, right, so HDMI is plugged in, monitor's lost its signal. Okay, right, so now we've got HDMI plugged in, controller plugged in. We'll just put some power to it, which is on the side here. Okay. There aren't any visible lights in this case, but if you open up the top you can see a couple of lights. Okay, right, so it's resizing the root file system, rebooting in 5 seconds. Hopefully this works. I have been told it does shut down and boot up a couple of times, so that's a good sign. RetroPie. Okay, right, our next step is getting some games on there. I'm not going to tell you where to get the games from. They are readily available and you will have to use them at your own risk. I have a couple of games that I'm mainly interested in playing. Super Mario World for one, Super Off-Road and Mario Kart, the original. Okay, right, so going through what looks like a DOS startup on the Pi. And so it's got a lot of OKs. Right, what I've been told with regards to getting the games on... Oh, actually, first of all, we've got to set up a controller. So it says one gamepad detected, brilliant. Hold A button on your device to configure it. Press F4 to quit at any time. Well, we haven't got a keyboard plugged in, so we can't just quit at any time. So we'll hold A. Okay, USB gamepad. Okay, we've got to configure the gamepad, so it's D-pad up, D-pad down, D-pad left, D-pad right, start, select A, B, X, Y, left shoulder, right shoulder. Right, this is where I heard that quite a few people are having trouble. I haven't got a left trigger on my controller, it's just a SNES controller. But it won't let you push anything because it says it's already taken. So what you do is you just push and hold a button and it will skip to the next one. So there we go, it comes up not defined. So again, you just push, not defined, not defined, not defined. There's quite a few of these. Okay, hotkey enable. I know about this. Hotkey enable is the way to cancel out of a game. Okay, you didn't choose hotkey enable button. This is required for exiting games with a controller. Do you want to use the select button by default? Answer yes to use the select button, or no to not set a hotkey. You definitely want to set a way of getting out of the game, because otherwise you'll just be stuck without. We just have to reset every time. Okay, so I've just pushed yes. Okay, there we go. So now we're in RetroPie. So we've got all of our settings. So it's pretty responsive, but no games. So what we have to do, you put it in your Mac, wait for it to show up, and you create a folder called RetroPie. No spaces, nothing like that. Okay, alright, so that's created. Eject it. And what you do is you plug that into your Pi. As you can see, it starts flashing, and stops. No, it's still flashing. What that's doing, it's creating subfolders in your RetroPie folder. So that will be a subfolder for every different kind of console ROM this thing plays. Okay, I think it's when it starts flashing you take it out. Okay, right, so now we take that out, plug it into our Mac, open it up. Yeah, now you can see all throughout the device there it's got a folder of ROMs, configs and BIOS. And in the ROMs you've got Amstrad, Arcade, loads of different Ataris, Atari Lynx, Game Gear, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Master System, Mega Drive, N64, Neo Geo, a bit of everything. So the one we're interested in is the SNES. Okay, so I've got a little folder here of some games that I want to play. Right, I'm only going to take a couple for the moment, because just as a way of making sure it works. I'm actually getting quite excited, really. I can't wait. I've been clucking to play Super Mario World in ages, because I've been watching some speedruns online. I'm never going to be at that level, but I like to think that I will be. Okay, right, so we put Super Mario Kart and Super Mario World on the USB stick. I say they're only tiny files. Like Super Mario World is 1/3 of a megabyte. Super Mario Kart is just a little bit bigger than 1/3 of a megabyte. For the amount of hours I used to play this game when I was a little boy, it's unbelievable. Right. You would think that's as quick and easy as it is. It's not. You have to restart the Pi. So you go down to quit and you restart the system. So you don't restart the emulation station, you restart the whole Pi system. Really restart, yes. Okay, so it is shut down, and now your Pi's restarting. Okay, it takes about a minute to restart. But what it does is the USB drive starts flashing, and then once it goes solid, once you're all booted up, it's actually copying the games from the USB onto the memory stick. So you haven't got to worry about having to have a USB stick. So in theory, the USB stick is only a transportation device between your computer, your Mac, and your Pi. Okay, so it's going through all of this again. No idea what all of that stuff means. Could mean anything to me, I'm not really. I'd like to know, but I ain't got time. Okay, right, simulation station. There we go. So as you can see now, it doesn't just say RetroPie, it also gives us the option for Super Nintendo. Okay, so we've got two games available, Mario Kart, Mario World. It won't play sound at the moment because this monitor doesn't have sound, it's just USB only. Okay, so there we go. Super Mario, just select. I hate games that make you bloody read stuff. If I wanted to read it, I would read it. But let me have the option to quit it if I need to. There we go. runs pretty well. It's not dropping any frames. It's sorry about that. My battery died in my camera, but as I was saying, my kids would be shocked by the quality of the graphics that we used to play when we were younger. But this runs perfectly. My aim is to have this on my TV and not my small screen like this. The wire on this controller isn't massively long, so I'm going to have to look to see if I can kind of get an extender for it. But it runs perfectly. Right, should we see how Mario Kart works? Okay, right, so there we go. So now let's try Super Mario Kart. One of my favourite games of all time. Love it. So the thing is as well, the Raspberry Pi you can get for 30 quid. Software you can download online. And the ROMs, they're readily available. Like I say, I'm not going to tell you where to get them because it's down to you whether you use them or not. There are some legal ones out there, some homemade games, but like I say, it's down to you whether you use them or not. Can't even remember the buttons on this. Oh, there we go, skidded out already. But all of the games on this run at 60 frames a second. I was watching online the other day when I was working out how to do this, and 60 frames a second is brilliant for such a small machine. That, let's say, these Raspberry Pis don't even have a fan or anything, so they run totally silent. And if you, like I say, I'm going to connect mine to my TV with a USB stick, USB cable, and in theory, every time you turn your TV on, the Raspberry Pi will boot up, which means that all you've got to do is change your HDMI channel and you've got retro games on tap. Sorry, it's been years since I played this. Sorry, I'm not doing much talking at the moment because I'm actually really enjoying myself. I can presume as well you can put 4 controllers in it and do a bit of 4-player. Was this game 4-player? I think it was. So, bye Donkey Kong. There's a banana he's going to try and get me with. There we go. There we go. Job done. Right, now let's see if that hotkey thing works. So push and hold select. There we go. I'm straight out of it. B to go back, A is to go forward. And I presume when you put other ROMs on for other consoles, you get Super Nintendo and then you'll get Mega Drive and stuff like that. But to prove that it then copies all the things over, there's the USB stick out. Go to Super Nintendo, Super Mario World. Hopefully it should start loading. There we go. I say these mini consoles are great, but you're very limited because you can only play the games that they put on there, and then they're about 80 quid. So 30 quid for a Pi, 6 quid for 2 controllers, half hour on a computer to download some bits. I say, and then you can also put Mega Drive, SNES. I think you can even do PlayStation. I'm going to have to work out how to do that because, let's say, them files are going to be 600 or 700 megabytes. So I'll have a play with that later, but all I got it for really was for this Mario Kart Super Off-Road. So yeah, there you go guys, it's quite easy and simple, definitely recommend it. You have to kind of work out to get the ROMs yourself. If you like this video, don't forget to thumbs up. If you have any questions, just please comment below and I'll help you straight away. We've got a Facebook page that you could come and join, #media. Also, we've got an Instagram with all our pictures and photography, and obviously this YouTube channel, so don't forget to subscribe. Cheers guys.